Okay, I want to put together this video to cover the Terraspace 0.7 release. So I put together this community post here that surfaces all the highlights. It's a couple things I've been meaning to try to get to for a while, and I finally got to it during Christmas break here. So first one is on-prem. Okay, on-prem support. So folks have been asking for this, and I get it. A lot of people still have to deal with data centers and maybe not have the ability to do cloud, which is totally understandable. So this was actually interesting to implement. Let's go here and click create new project. The way it works now is you just specify -- plugin none. And basically with that, it makes zero assumptions about a cloud provider. So essentially I remove any assumptions I accidentally made in 0.6 and below, and essentially remove those assumptions as Terraspace core. And so now there are zero assumptions completely made, and this allows you to essentially use on-prem if you need to, data centers if you kind of need to. And it does come shipped with some working examples right off the bat. The working examples is pretty simple. It's just a random pet because I can't make any assumptions. Okay, so that's working, and that was actually quite interesting to kind of do and make sure that Terraspace is kind of better for it. Okay, so that is the first one. Let's see, next one, better pass through Terraspace options to Terraform. Okay, so this one has been annoying me for a little bit of time, and I've been wanting to kind of address this. So here's some documentation around it. Basically, what Terraspace does is it uses something called Thor as the underlying library to parse CLI options. It's a pretty popular library in the Ruby community, essentially. And Thor, you basically have to specify the CLI options kind of, you get to define them explicitly when you kind of define your CLI interface. So it made it a little bit more difficult to, let's say, pass through CLI arguments. So I hacked around Thor. So now it works by passing the arguments kind of through, but it doesn't just blindly pass the arguments or options straight through, because not all Terraform commands basically have the same CLI arguments, of course not, right? And plus, commands like up might call Terraform init and Terraform apply. It calls more than one command. It just depends on what it needs to do. So Terraspace actually handles this a little more smartly by evaluating which options are supported by the underlying Terraform command, and then passing through only when it needs to. So here is an example. Terraspace up demo upgrade. Upgrade's only supported by init. So init will basically respect that, but apply doesn't have an upgrade command, so it's not going to respect that. Compact wordings, that's supported only by apply, but init doesn't support that, so that's not going to be passed through. No color is respected by both commands, so that gets passed through both. So that's kind of how it works. It works a little bit more smart than just blindly passing the commands or arguments kind of through. And I want to point out that both double dash options as well as single dash options will work for the Terraform CLI options. Okay, the Terraspace CLI options themselves will interpret double dashes also, and kind of use single dashes for kind of Boolean CLI arguments and all that. But when you're kind of passing through, you can use either. I'm guessing folks will kind of have their preferences. We won't go there. Okay. Okay, next here. Terraspace plugin star gems dependencies. Yes, that has finally been removed out of Terraspace core. So when I wrote Terraspace initially, just trying to get a ship. Okay, it takes time to do these things. So shipped it with Terraspace core initially just to kind of get out the door. But we were meaning to get rid of the Terraspace plugin out of Terraspace core, so then basically any additional plugins that maybe other folks might write will basically be treated as first class citizens. Okay, so now that is removed out of core, and that's great. So basically this means that when you're installing Terraspace now, only the plugin that you want to use is going to be installed like AWS or Azure RM or Google, and then only those dependencies for that cloud provider will be installed. And this should reduce the chances of actually dependency collisions or resolution issues here that some folks have been having with different installers. Okay, and so that should mitigate it a little bit, but I actually think some other improvements I made to the Terraspace standalone installer and the shim itself, basically shim detection, it's going to actually address those issues. Mainly, what happens is when people kind of install Terraspace, They will upgrade it later, and then that might cause gem resolution issues or dependency resolution issues, because basically you're not running bundle exec in front of the command. And in the Ruby world, bundle exec is how actually you ensure you pin down and you lock gem dependency library versions. You just have to throw a bundle exec in front. Of course, totally get it. People don't like having type bundle exec in front, so then they kind of jump through hoops and trying to basically fix all the gems on their system to match with what's in essentially their gem file lock. Which is going to be a rabbit hole that you're going to be running down. So what it's doing now is basically the standalone installers will generate a smarter wrapper that will use bundle exec when it needs to. So that should essentially resolve the issues for the standalone installers case. And for the gem case, basically I do lazy detection on whether or not the shim's being basically being used, and if the shim's not being used, and if the error surfaces. A lot of ifs here, okay? Then it's gonna give you a nice user-friendly message to explain how to install the shim, and that's just a one-time thing, okay? So I think that should resolve most of those issues there. That one's been a fun one to chase down, I'm sure. Okay. Also, standalone installers and as well as Docker images of Terraspace now have proper versioning. Again, it's one of those things you just ship and it's like, okay, I got out the door initially, but I always want to put proper version in there. So now I have proper versioning, and I'm going to continue to improve this actually process a little bit further, but it at least will maintain proper versioning now with the previous versions of Terraspace. Okay, and lastly, improve CLI help. So a very smart person once told me the CLI help, it would be nice if you kind of made that a little bit nicer to use. You can guess who that smart person is. Anyway, so I made it better, okay? I had to, again, hack some of the underlying libraries here, but it's better now. I'll give you a quick demonstration of this. So be Terraspace-H for help, or --help, or help, all of them kind of work. And now see, the main commands are grouped at the top, okay? See, nice and a little bit easier, user-friendly there for folks to use. And then the other commands are like, okay, all these other commands are grouped on the bottom there. And then there's also a link to the reference documentation that does exist, everyone, okay? It does exist out there. So please also read through that and all that before, you know, wondering how to maybe do something, all that. But that's mainly it. Terraspace 0.7 has been released. I'm sure there's going to be there's plenty of room to improvement, always is. Software is a constant thing that you just have to always kind of improve and always kind of work on. But I'm pretty you know, happy with the results of this, and hopefully you are too, and hopefully this was helpful. Thanks.